I don't care. What do you guys good with that?
Either way.
Okay. Scott, this is Sadie? All right, we've got Scott and Sadie coming up. Guns up. Let's go. No, you're right. Just step your game up, and, when you launch your dog, move up a little. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, they didn't actually plant yet, did they? And look at it. Evan was sharp. He saw the... Okay, that's just going to... Something popped in my head that's worth saying. When you're in the holding blind, make sure your blinds go down.
Yes.
Watch them go down. Just like me. Judges are distracted. Somebody's asking them questions. The marshals were... And next thing you know, you get up there and the blinds aren't down. When you're in that holding blind, watch your blinds get planted. The dog knocked the blind marker over, and he popped it up. All right, now we're ready. Okay, dog's on his left. He's watching his dog. I'm happy. Almost. Watch. Dog. But you see what I'm saying? Okay, did you see when she moved forward?
Yes, sir.
Do you see where you were looking when she moved forward? Okay. Okay. 10 push-ups. See, I like to re-heel them. I like to take them off their feet. Make them just like that. Make that move right there. You see what and when they come back, slant. Right. What I'm saying is, watch this. Okay, there's the backwards. You say, I'm going to talk, but as if I was you. Heel. Sit. Plant their ass down with the sit. Heel. Get them right back. Sit. Just envision you just nail their tail in the ground. Bam! Now you got her. She's back in the deep heel position, which gives you the opportunity to influence left better, because you're closing the door on the right. Dog is here. When you're here, their influence there. When you stand up there, you influence to the left harder, and you close this window. When you've got this window open and they want to go that way, you're opening the door to that opportunity. I'm not talking. There's a difference between influencing and false lining. I don't like to false line. I don't like to point him at the duck when I want him to go at the deer. But if I point him at the deer and I know they want to go over there, I will influence more aggressively by being further forward on them. Now with the word sit. Punctuate that re-heel with a sit. Get an act of compliance when they're on the mat. It's going to pay off in the field. Now, I like to stand square. You see how your left leg is back and your right leg is forward and you're kind of sideways? I prefer to square up. Now, I'm okay with where your right leg is. I just like to see you turn your left leg, and you're kind of like this. I'd like you to do this. Get in the habit of having your toes pointed where you want the dog to go. So you're pointed perpendicular or parallel to the perfect line of the blind, and you get the dog in the pattern of his spine being lined up with your toes. It's a good way to get in the habit of being able to point him accurately.
Okay, can I ask you a question on that then?
Yeah?
So, I don't know, so the way that I'm doing it right there is I try to with my back and front foot, the same thing. I try to line the spine through my legs. So,
Okay.
So where I'm doing there, so like if I wanted her to go right, I would scoop my right leg back.
You would do
If
this.
I wanted to go push her to the left, I scoop my right leg forward.
Okay. I would, my only difference, and I will do some of that if a dog, now, when this dog's right shoulder socket is at my knee socket, and they're real responsive, sometimes you can just lean your weight and you'll see them just bump over a click.
If I push my left leg up, too hard shoulder like you were talking about. So in that case, how do I open her up without taking a step in front of my leg?
How do you open, when you say open her up, do you mean tell her to go to the right?
Yes, sir.
I step back.
Okay, okay, I got you.
I draw, I mean, it may only be that far. It may only be, it's just got, you know, and I'm only telling you what I've been taught, but it's a deal like, how do you mount a shotgun? Or, you know, these are all instinctual efforts to shooting a basketball, throwing a baseball, shooting a bow and arrow instinctively without sights, shooting a shotgun. When, you know, so finding your consistent routine of how you stand. Now, maybe that is your consistent routine, but I want to tell you what my consistent routine and what I've been taught, and that's what I've been taught. Okay. And you know what? If you're going to change your routine, do a bunch of wagon wheel drills. I mean, to get comfortable with it on both you and your dog's part. You know what I loved? Your cadence was really solid. You dropped your hand in, she could see it, you waited a second. See, I got to give you some attaboys, but it's the truth. I liked it. I'm not just going to tell you the things I don't like. See, my strategy would have been, after I saw what goes on, stop them right there. Right there. Because by the time you see them out here, if they want to go for the poison bird, they're pretty committed. I think this would be my first objective, to get right there, just to the left of this bush. Remember, you're going here. You see where right? Now, I'm not, the camera's not right behind you, so you're not that far off. And it doesn't feel like, oh, that's okay, but what we saw with multiple dogs is when they came down here, when they showed up, a lot of them were right there. When you wanted to be right there. So, that's all. I would have, if you were my client, I'd draw these things and I'd say, if you're 7 dogs down in the National Amateur, I'm going to say, I want you left of that damn spot there. And that's what I'd tell you.
So Matt, with a hard-running dog, and you blow that whistle right there, that dog's going to overrun that bush before it actually gets set.
Not if I blow in time. Then I blow sooner.
Okay.
I mean, I think you could tell. Not a single dog went in this gap that went left of the bush. If they went in this gap, then I would blow right here.
When it made that change, with the racehorse, though, I feel like you could get, you know, beside the bush or something before that dog's actually sat. Would you recall that dog a little bit, sit him, and then cast again?
No,
Okay.
I wouldn't.
Even
I mean,
even if you ended up going to the other side of the bush, you would still try and get that cast in the right direction?
yeah, then I would just say, shame on me for not blowing when I should have.
Okay.
Now I just got to work about getting him to change direction. I'm not saying that there isn't value in practicing a dog yielding once they break right. I'm only telling you, if I'm running a field trial or I'm running a test and I want to have the best job, and I've seen a bunch of dogs start to essentially fail this blind down in that flat before they even got to the end, that's how you keep from failing it.
Would you make the same decision in a training scenario and a test scenario right there, though? With calling them to
well,
before the bush?
The difference would be, how hard did I work online to point them there? And if they said, yeah, I get, and they just blew me off, I might recall them and resend.
Because that dog made a conscious decision right there to break
Right.
right.
And if I really said, all right, I knew what I wanted to do and I was stepping up and they gave me the look and they went like this anyways, I might treat it as a no-no drill and say, no, you're going to go down this left gap. That's more likely what I do.
Okay. Yeah, that close, I feel like that. No.
But you know what? How many people like tendency to want to blow and recall? Sometimes practicing that early whistle is important. Sometimes it kills it's an awkward thing for the dogs, and sometimes it's probably better off that we do blow that and just handle through it. Like you got to catch a log at 15 yards or a corner of a mound, and you blow a whistle from here to you guys. Sometimes that just breaks. So sometimes that, even though they're close, that's not the easiest cast to make work and continue your momentum. All right.
Real question, when you know, we're talking about what's happening really close there. We've got a dog that is a good wagon wheel dog, is lining pretty good, and you're coming to the best, and you've got that influence on those right-hand marks, and you're doing your best to get that dog. At what point do you back off, step off the mat and come back to the mat? When is that affect?
If I'm arguing on here and I'm
Yeah.
going in there, not,
Yep,
I don't know if what I might be more prone to doing is do a 360, because if they're not
Well,
working with me,
yeah.
I might just say, all right, I'm not gonna worry about the blind right now. You're gonna rotate with me. You're gonna, if I say heel, because what you're doing is you're saying heel, and they're saying, no, I ain't doing that.
Yeah, exactly.
Because they're wanting to jump ahead and they wanna go here, and you're trying to get them to go there. I would probably make them, I said, oh, so if you don't wanna go there, I'm gonna make you look there, and then I'm gonna make you look there, and then I'm gonna make you look there, and I'll take, and I may have a healing stick, and if I say heal and you don't do it, I said, this is gonna turn into a 360 healing drill, and we're not starting until you say, all right, I get it, you're running the
so
show.
in other words, back off the wagon wheel drill and go to, pattern blind situation, and so you can, get that 360 or step off the mat and start over.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's a pattern blind thing as much as because then they kind of have known destinations. I think it's just not necessarily the initial line as it is their willingness to heal with you. I would say, if I get in, and if I go to wagon wheel and I start to do some, and periodically I may not even send. I might just turn, get them,
Yeah.
and really get them really fluid with dancing with me
Yeah.
before I start it
In
and
other
say,
words, your body position and them are in sequence, but when you come to a cold blind situation like that, and we get this bad behavior, stepping off and getting their mind right.
I guess okay, yeah, that would be legit. But I guess the one thing I didn't say, if I worked hard, I recalled, most of the time I'll move up 2 or 3 steps. And I could see if I had an argument and I said, all right, maybe it's more important that I win this argument than anything else in this blind, I could see myself sending from right here at some point. And say, no, you know what, I really worked hard, and you're reasonably talented. There really wasn't. A few dogs went way left, but with the gallery and the camera guy, they weren't going to go left. They were going to go down either this path or this path.
So your priority is establishing a little bit better corridor so you can get a good start on this blind.
Yeah, but more than anything, I want to establish an effort to comply to my request.
Okay.
Because is that any different than getting an angle back into the wind? Probably not, is it?
Okay.
They're just trying to comply to my wishes, really.
Yeah.
So maybe it's more valuable here, and then that'll help you out there. That would be my instinct. Okay, where are we here? So we got, okay, there's your first cast. Okay, solid. Let's see, right there, there's the learning. What did you guys, do you know why I stopped that video? Watch this, watch the moment. This is what, okay. There's the dog sitting, right there. You got her? Tell me when, I'm going to see I would blow the whistle. Beep. Right there. Right there. You blow that whistle right there, chances are she's going to turn to the left, and you're going to get the next cast. But if you wait, come on, and I'm already, right? When did you lose sight of the left shoulder? I'm going backwards now. Right there is probably the sweet spot to blow, but right there you've lost. There's when the momentum is reestablishing to the right. Come on. Were you going to blow anyways, or did you blow because I told you to blow?
I think I was gonna blow anyway,
Okay.
but I was way late.
Okay, but that's not an experience thing. I mean, none of us do that as well as we should. Blow that right there. If you can win the argument and get her to throw the towel in right there, your blind is way easier. Okay, she
Need to
did.
get left of that round bush now.
What happens here? I think there's something, if I remember. Good camera work there, Mike.
Because the blind's left of it. That's the
There
hole.
you go.
can go through that hole, but you just got to make sure they go left of that round bush.
Ooh, 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 ooh.
Be careful.
All right. You just jumped off, you just passed the window washers right there. I mean, I can't tell you how valuable this is, and it's for me too.
I didn't mean that far right.
Now you're just, see, now you're in a situation she couldn't see you. You probably gave the silence. And boy, now you're in a world of hurt. I told you, Rin Tin Tin ain't taking this cast. Probably.
Chances she's going to take this cast.
Watch.
Yep.
Okay.
Pretty much what I figured.
All right. All right. So
That's all right.
she actually took that one.
He
Okay.
didn't even mean it. But now don't miss it on the left, though.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, this is
Hello. You mi-
okay. Let me just. I think the best way to learn here is me to blow a stop when I would blow. Can I do that for you? I'm going to stop the video every time I would blow here. Because, boy, once you finally dug yourself out of the hole, man, you just got to fight for your life. Trying to back up. Let me see if this is going to back us up.
Left on the left. Don't miss it. I don't
Yeah, this.
mean it. Even he did.
Oh.
Cast that came to the right. That's right.
Okay, let's get. Hold on.
Yep.
All right. Let's go from here. Beep. Okay, you blew. You heard the whistle? You blew a good whistle there.
Pretty much what I figured.
Okay.
That's all right. She took that cast.
Beep. Maybe a little more.
You need-
Beep right there. Because I want. If I stop too soon, I'm probably going to cast behind the right-hand bush.
Even me?
But you better stop. You better be in one of these frames. Like probably. Okay. You're dead in line with the blind right there. Correct? Now, we talk about a fast dog. You were asking about remember, who was I? Oh, I was talking to Eric. I'm saying you're shooting doves and you're shooting behind them all the time. You got to lead them here. And
For you. So since her momentum is to the left, do I want to stop her ideally so that my next cast is the right?
yeah, I do.
Okay.
But I know we're getting if I could have her sitting in the perfect spot, it would be right there.
Yeah, 'cause then you can.
That's where I want her to sit. So I probably have to blow a little bit before that. Because if you stop her right there, and you give my next cast would be that. It'd be that right there. I just make sure I got the turn the right way, and I throw and if she went straight back, I'd let her go a little bit, and then I'd stop and I'd give an angle just to get downwind of it. Can you feel how that might work? So in a perfect world, let's say if I would get her here, and the blind is right there, I can barely see the marker. And if I blew and I got her here, then that's where I want to get. I don't want to go to the peg. I want to go downwind of the peg. There's a scent cone. Every now and then I'll go out and I'll take a coffee can and I'll put a smoke bomb in it. And you can watch the smoke and you say, there's the scent cone right there. And it'll get bigger. You see how a lot of those dogs, they were winding that blind from over there. And so, if it starts to get hairy, just make sure you're on the downwind side. You can be a little bit behind the bush, you can maybe slip one whistle and survive. But if you don't pick up the bird, you ain't surviving.
But now don't miss it on the left.
But you see, let me tell you what red zone handling is. Red zone handling is when you're in the last 10% of the blind and your whistles come, it's rapid fire. You're all the momentum you created to get there, now is your enemy. You've got to now control it. Now you've got to downshift. beep, cast, beep. I don't know, judges aren't gonna kill you for blowing 3 or 4 whistles right there. You know, they're gonna put them in their book, but if you tack them in there and stop, and they know you're like, got the wheel, they're probably gonna say, well, that's good handling. But if you kind of hope, this is where people hope. Amateurs hope. This is where you, and like, here's what I say. I start to go, you're upwind of this blind. It's like watching you step onto the street in downtown Salt Lake in front of a bus. I go, I can't watch. I know what's going to happen. You're going to show up 50 yards deep, and now it's game over.
Blow.
And okay, and somebody will say, blow. I said, I can't see them. That's why I want you to blow! Because we know where they're not. We know where we saw her last. She's got to be there somewhere. She doesn't have a heat-seeking device. She doesn't have a radar. She's upwind of the blind. You got to get her back. I mean, if you stop, blow a come in, she comes back in sight and you put her on it, you can survive that. If you stand there and go, I can't see her, well, shit, she could be anywhere. Right?
And she does.
You got to have, you know what? I'm going to ask you guys a question. If you went out here and you let your dog out and you weren't paying attention and you looked up and they'd gotten through the fence and they were on the side of that highway, how would you react? How urgent would you be? That's what you need to be like, right there. Just, doesn't that just go, doesn't that give you almost, take your breath away, fear? You've got to have that same intensity in the red zone. When you have that, most people are aggressive, micromanage when they shouldn't, and undermanage when they should overmanage. That's the overmanaged zone.
I've heard two schools of thought in training. One is you try and let your dog find the blind at the end.
Okay.
And the other is you in training. And then if it doesn't find the blind, then you practice getting it back, and then the other.
I don't know what you mean by finding the blind. Help me with that, because I'm starting to go like this.
So on here, the dog's on the correct side of the blind, it should wind it.
Okay, you're talking about that, finding the blind.
Do you stop your dog, or do you do the micromanage?
Oh, no, I don't necessarily micromanage. I see what you're saying. I would. I think they're, but you're talking about two different. I don't micromanage on when they've complied and I'm on the right side of the wind. I would, if I got a cast to the right and I'm in my sweet spot, even if they're a little bit behind the bush and they've been with me, I'm not blowing 6 more whistles there. No, but if they're urgent on the left, patient on the right on this, at that point, reasonably on the right. If they're downwind, I'm not micromanaging if I know I'm going to get it. If they're like right there and it's like, I know if they go 3 steps more, they're going to be behind the left bush and there's a dip and I'm not going to see them, you bet I'm going to micromanage. So they're not, if they're in a position where they're not going to wind it, then I've got to micromanage. If they are going to wind it, I probably not. I don't think that's finding the blind. That's winding the blind. I'm not saying, when you said that, I had a vision of a dog hunting out there and looking for it on their own. I'm talking about a dog that's complying, wind it, boom.
Either, because this was like when I was with my first dog, who I was getting advice and I probably didn't understand it well.
And it's,
I got it now.
and I'll tell people and I'll get them all fired up. And then they'll blow 37 whistles. And I'll say, well, wait a minute, that's not quite what I meant. But that's a journey you have to go through yourself. That really is a you do it, and then it helps, and then you say, all right, I went a little overboard. There's times where you do it and times where you don't. Let me grab that one first, because it...
So I notice this a lot with people at the end of the blind. They finish it, they get the dog downwind, and then they just let the dog hunt, which is what she's talking about. They the dog should smell it, and then they lose control of the dog. But what
Yeah.
I've seen the good handlers do is they blow a sit whistle and then they sweat them a little bit and let the dog, because a lot of times the dog goes,
Oh, yeah, there it
it's
is.
waiting, and it's looking at you, it goes, oh. And the dog tells you, oh, I just.
They go on, I said they go in on point.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's almost like a pointer going on point.
I've seen them do that.
And you watch her head go, okay, they just winded it. You know, I'm not a big, when I say get them downwind, I'm talking about a crosswind blind, I'm not letting them quarter. I mean, if I've got them the length of that table you're at right there, on the downwind side, I'm great with that. I'm probably not great with it if they're over by this wall. I'm sorry, you, back there, and then I'm gonna grab yours.
Do you worry though in training by doing that, if you're gonna get the dog on the downwind side, for them to smell it, that you're teaching the dog to use its nose as it's running the blind? Because in my understanding is as you run a blind, it's don't use your nose, you just go where I tell you.
Yeah, but, you know, then if you get dogs so afraid to, then they run by a blind, they do wind. At that point, I think you can go overboard on, you know, I don't go crazy about them using their nose. I go crazy on them not responding to communication after they use their nose. I mean, I have, like with some of my hammerheads I had back in the day, yeah, I got them ignoring scent, and then I said, oh shit, now they won't even acknowledge the blind, they won't check down on short birds. I overdid it. I think you can overdo it.
Well, and I'm just thinking in training, try to get them to hit it perfect,
Well,
as opposed to
yeah.
downwind. Obviously, in a test or a trial, get them a little bit off.
you know, sometimes if you try to hit it perfect, you could miss it that far upwind. And at those distances, you can't tell. So, I mean, if I saw a behavior where the dog was overly hunty in other scenting conditions, I'd be more prone to scenting in closer. And I'll tell you one, if you got a dog that is prone to that, I came across this by accident. And I had put out a pile of bumpers and was going to run a blind. And I said, no, I want to move it 30 yards back. So I picked them up, moved them back. When some of those dogs hit that bumper scent, it was like they found a crate of flyers. They would not listen. And I thought, my goodness, like they were just bumper, and it was just laying on there wasn't bumper there, it just laid them down for that. They were expecting to be there at that point. So I would do that from time to time and handle them into that scent, make them sit and get them to cast out of it. But I think if you go crazy, whose dog popped right on the blind? Would you say? Again, you said, well, I make him stop every time he smells it. Sometimes you can get him to scent pop, and sometimes it'll carry over to marks, and next thing you know, like, oh shit, I got a problem here.
I got it.
I'm sorry, you had a question. Remember?
Kind of taking it back to something else you said earlier, but you said that in training you like on marks, when you handle them, you'll handle them to the area of the fall and allow them to hunt. Do you give a cue for that hunt? Because
Yeah, that's a good question. I've got typically two types of come-in whistles. There's the beep, 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 which is the urgent come straight in. And there's a beep, beep that says, you're there, go ahead and find it kind of thing. You know, and if a dog overran a mark and I blow a come in to get him in the area and I go beep, beep, I'm kind of encouraging him to look for it there. Most of the time when I am handling them to the area of the fall and I let them look for it, they're falls that maybe they overran, or maybe they are that island bird and I just want to bring them back into the area, and I might have the gun step up and give them a little hup just to tell them it's okay to look for a bird. Now, if I start seeing a dog that doesn't want to handle on a mark, then I'm going to do some things like, there's times where I'm going to manage you right to the bird. When some of these dogs were, you know, I could tell they didn't want to handle, well then no, now it's going to be a handling drill. But if they're pretty compliant and I'm just trying to communicate the overall lesson, I want to show you to come in and look short, that's when I'm more prone to doing that. That makes sense?
Yeah, along those lines, my dog is used to a way better handler than me.
Okay.
So 99.8% of the time, the come in whistle is because he's at the blind, he just needs to grab the bird and come in. And now that I've been running him in tests, I find myself in horrible situations where I get him a little deep and I need to give him that tweet, tweet, tweet to get him to come in, and he instantly goes into hunt mode. How do you would you go back to like a come-in type of drill?
Yes, and I was gonna do that today with some dogs. Here's what I'm gonna do.
Because I did see.
I do this on double T too, as one of my routines, but, okay, I'll give you the Reader's Digest version of the drill. I'll establish a back pile, 100 yards, let's say initially. In other words, I line them to it, I move back, I line them all the way down. I mean, they picked it up 2 or 3 times. Then I send them down and I stop them at about 50 yards. Beep. I let them see me throw a bumper up. Beep, 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 and they come in and pick it up. Good dog. Okay? Then I line them down, let them go all the way through again. And now maybe I stop them at 65 yards. But I don't, and here's what I'll do sometimes. As they're running away, I throw the bumper up. Same spot. Beep. They don't see me throw it out this time. Beep, beep, beep. If they don't come in, if they go a couple steps, beep, beep, beep with a collar correction. And then they come in and find it. Okay? Then I'll get to the point where I stop them from here to the camera from the back pile. And my beep, beep, beep is beep, beep, beep. And they come in, good dog, and then I'll pitch them a bumper or something like that. And I just practice that. Then I will, one of the great drills, not great drills, but exercises I would do is picture a triple, I use like a turkey foot, like a triple pattern blind, like a baseball diamond, first base, second base, third base. And you've got a wind blowing a little bit left to right. The worst place to be on game day on a blind like that is upwind and deep. That's the death zone. I'll put them upwind and deep, maybe 30 yards deep. They can't smell the blind. And I blow a come in, and what they'll tend to do is not come straight in, they'll go with the wind. And the minute they go with the wind, I treat it beep, nick, beep, beep, beep. And if they don't salute and when they come straight in, I bring them in about 10 yards short of the blind, and then I cast them downwind and give them the blind. And then I do it on the next one. And I'm going to put them upwind and deep, practice the come in. But I don't just go to that. I go to that drill. And it's a good little exercise.
That's a way better answer than become a better angler.
Well, you're going to end up there at times.
Yeah.
You're going to end up there. I mean, you're going to need a come in. And you think it's not that hard, but it is. It is. I think we kind of finished that dog, didn't we? I want to make sure I show everybody some love here. That was number...
Real quick, so on the second blind of that one, I have a question.
Oh, okay. Well, let me jump into the second blind.
She did pretty good on the second blind. She ran all the way out to that far patch of bushes out there, but I let her drift too far right.
All right, let's see. Are we on the second blind or the first blind? Okay, you're coming back with the first blind. Okay. All right, here we go. Here we go. You ready there, big boy? Move up. So all right, so there's she left kind of careful. Did you see? Remember I talked about warning signs? Well, this is maybe a good sign.
Seth, you see how when he looks away?
Oh, what happened? This is...
She, other than a couple, she wasn't too bad there. I mean, I would probably run the other blind.
Okay, this is where I get, watch. I could go Coach Knight on you right here real easy. But I'm not going to do it. You know what's,
Yes, sir. I know exactly what you're doing.
nothing good happens there. Why do you feel you need to turn around and disengage from the dog to get rid of the bird? Just don't do it. It's a horrible habit. Hold it in your back, stick it under your arm. Most judges, if you do this, are going to take it from you. If they're not, I mean, I don't know, some of your games you got a bucket behind, you can pitch in the bucket, but just, and you know, I mean, if you're on a set of marks, you can give it to them after you send. Just be aware that, and when we make our dogs uber sensitive to our movement, we gotta only move when we want to tell them something. Now,
Dad, you see,
So I'm,
When he looks away and steps away, how she got up and walked around? Keep her.
see, you asked for this.
Oh, I'm good. I don't videotape myself, so I didn't.
No, this is stuff you could do. I want you guys to go home and find somebody or pop your phone up on one of those little tripods and do, you can do this. This is not hard to do.
State of mind.
Even if you film only from this angle for a while. Right, and you got her a little bit, okay, so you can see her. And sometimes I say, sweat him a little bit, and somebody says, but it's going to make him worried. I said, sometimes I want him to be worried. And when I do great basics and I teach, what do I want a dog to do when they're worried? Be more receptive to information. Try harder. Sit sharper. Be more watery. But if I haven't taught them how to deal with a little mental pressure and how to use it productively, but sweating your dog is incredibly valuable. And sweating your dog means that you're trying to heighten their level of concern. And the reason I came back is because I watched her depart here, and I'm thinking, right, you got a pretty good look. Look at that, you're reading that perfect, and she's leaving, ears are pinned back just a little bit. I'm thinking, all right, I think I got this dog in the state of mind I want.
Move a little more forward. Move a little more forward.
All right, now she's starting to speed up. I'm thinking like, do I?
Okay, well, there's.
Okay, so let's just make sure, remember the dark spot? The blind is where, right in here?
Up higher, and to the right, just a little
Is it,
next bush.
is it more in here? Okay, well, we're gonna find out in a second. All right,
Yeah, you gotta get it right.
okay. Okay, so, no, you got a, that was the best initial line of the day, I remember. Huh? No, it was, and I'll tell you what, you did a great job online. I mean, I watched you, you were down tight on her, you bear down on her a little bit. She left like, this dog, I got an instinct that this dog is it's up to me now. If I don't screw up, this dog's gonna run a good blind if I give her the right information. But you did fall in love with that initial line a little bit because I would say that.
Move a little more forward. Move a little more forward.
I'm thinking like, get up there!
That handling rush is that next little.
Okay, so I'm going like, all right, I'm thinking like, all right,
There's.
and I'm gonna blow right there. Maybe even, now she just cleared the bush. I still got, enough room on the right and left.
Yeah, you gotta get it right now.
And now she turned left and she's kind of out of sight. But
Don't be the guy jumping off the Empire State Building.
But you got a great cast.
the dip.
You got a great cast. But that's a with the wind, okay. And you blew a nice whistle there. So I'm trying to figure out when you decided,
Straight.
okay, you went
See how she
boys.
turned opposite of the cast? You see?
Boom. We need to play Rocky Top for him, I guess.
No.
He's a Tennessee guy. Okay. All right.
Thank you, guys.
Have a safe trip home. You could spend a whole day reviewing this stuff. And, you guys would probably fall asleep, but it's watching game films. It's no different than that. Okay, I gotta show you guys some love here. That was 27. Hey.
Hey, thank you for everything, sir.
Nice
I
to meet you.
appreciate
You bet.
Drive safe, Scott.
Is anybody else all right, well, I'm just gonna start making sure I got everybody on film here.
Right here? Okay.
And just for you guys' information, I fly out tomorrow morning, so, I'm here for you. If we get done with this and you wanna have more questions, all I gotta do is wash a little laundry and fly.
Those are key things.
I gotta be
I'm not
airport at
running to
5:30,
hear myself talk. I'm
4:30
telling
tomorrow
you,
morning.
Pay attention to it. Not, this guy's looking where the marks were.
All right, here we go. Our fearless leader. Isn't it? Isn't that Eric? Oh, yeah.
Signal for the mark, wait for your number. This guy's looking where the marks were. He goes, "There's fires out there, wasn't it?"
This is Mako?
Mako, yeah.
Okay, you're watching, okay. See how he's watching the dog? He flicks his head up and down?
On the blind.
Perfect. Okay. Oh, he said, where's that frickin' whistle at? Did you forget your whistle? Is this one you did? Or you did before? Oh, I said, you didn't do it again, did you?
I was gonna make you do push-ups if you didn't.
Purposes only.
Okay, all right. That one's on the house.
Back.
Okay. Can we talk a little bit about the line stuff? Because I was looking like, I want you to step up with your left leg. Not just your right leg. You were bumping him over, and he was like, and I didn't think like, all right, in my opinion, okay, let me get up a little, let me get here a little
He
bit.
didn't.
Okay, I want to watch this. I'm going, your left leg went up there. He looked, your outside leg went up, okay?
I'll tell you right now.
All right. Drive safe, guys. All right.
Thank you, sir.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Be good. Okay,
And I'll tell you right now, I will always go with my right leg.
but, okay, be willing to do both when you need it.
Physically, I can't, is what I'm getting at.
You can't, you couldn't,
I've got,
wait a minute. You mean you couldn't do this?
I'm really, if I can't really put a whole lot of,
Weight on your,
yeah.
so you're
A
going,
whole bunch of screws and shit now, so.
okay, so you were going like this.
Yeah.
But are you not able to do that?
If
I mean,
If you're watching me,
okay.
I'm doing this, if I go this way, I'm gonna hit the ground, I'll hit the ground.
I guess, I'm not talking about trying to do a tap dance. I'm talking about just, let me see you walk. Just, I
I can walk like that, but.
Okay, so- okay, so-
But if I'm on ground like that,
oh.
and I try and put all my weight on that, I'm
Oh, so-
down.
All right, so let me see you walk.
I walk.
Boom, right, that step right, go ahead, boom. That one right there, that's the step.
Okay.
I think you could, I'm not talking about you tap dancing. I'm talking about making a bold,
Oh,
just
all
a,
right, that makes more.
boom, that move right there. Because that says, there wasn't a lot of risk going too far left here. So if that, and what I'm saying is, the leg closest to the dog makes the strongest statement. You don't always want to make a strong statement. Sometimes you want a finesse statement. Sometimes you want to just, but with a little bit of a high-powered dog, and when I saw, for example, let me go back a little bit. Okay, there's when you went that move right there, boom, he looked left. I probably would have left him right there and moved my left leg even with my right leg, made that step, and I bet you would have nailed it. Because does he look back? You went like that, he looks, and you sense it again, because he must be flicking his eyes. I can't see his eyes, but he must be like bopping back and forth. At that point, I'm saying, when you step forward with your left leg, you're telling him, don't you dare go for that bird. And I think you don't have to say another word. You see that, you're getting that boop, 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 back and forth, but every time you move him over, he looks back to the right. Now, he might not look like the deal in front of him, but if I'm gonna send a message, I'm probably gonna try to step forth my left leg, that's all. And I'm not just gonna back and forth, I'm just gonna boom. And I would have said to myself, oh, I bet you I could have got this hole if I would have stepped up a little bit. Okay, all right. So you gotta, do you get a pretty good cast here?
Okay.
Oh, right there you blow, right? Just a couple steps slow. And watch, you get a little bit of a, okay. I'm thinking, all right, I'm getting to crunch time here, because I'm thinking I better change this dog's mind right here.
Sweat him right here.
Maybe you do get it good, I don't know. Well, you're waiting. Oh, wait a minute, I want to, is this, let's,
Okay.
all right, But did you see, every previous time he turned right, that time you blew proactively and he turned left. So I bet you get this cast decent now. See, I would have let him cross the line a little more. I would have let him get here to set up a right-handed verbal. I think if it was me, I'd probably, you're going to get this hole or this hole probably, right? I'd have probably tried to set up this hole. Now, do you give another left or do you give a right?
Four-letter word here, guys.
Oh. Oh, did you go left?
Would be, might have been a right, but it needed to be verbal.
Okay. He's standing up. Okay, you blow a whistle, make him sit. Great,
This
perfect.
better be verbal. I assume you're going right.
Okay.
Okay.
But you blew a whistle there. I mean, it was good. So, you know, typical lamb blind, you're going to have, you know, if you're running a field trial in a major stake, you're probably going to have 30 dogs to run a lamb blind. 25 to 40. And if you're 25 dogs down, you start to watch a pattern develop. And where I'm going with this, let me see. Okay, let me take one more look here. Okay. Here's my, I'm gonna start to establish waypoints in my head. Objective points. I want to get to the objective point that makes my next cast easier. My first objective point is getting left of this bush, ideally. My next objective point is to get over here. But, you know, getting in line with the blind. But I liked how I felt the sweet spot was that left-hand hole with a little bit of right momentum. I think it was harder to get the right hole because when you got the right hole, they ended up kind of breaking. And I think they maybe saw the holding blind then too. So my strategy would be, and once you see the pattern develop, let me get back here a little bit because I'm trying to come backwards here a little bit.
But right, it better might be probably.
All right, I'm gonna.
I
I love where you are here. My strategy, here's our two markers we looked at, right? You could see this one and this one. My strategy would be to come through here and get this hole. Depending on how, if I got this hole with kind of normal momentum, I think they're probably gonna come up and let the wind push them a little bit. There's your blind marker right there. You can see it. Just see it right there. Get this hole, get here, read, I can't let them get over here, and then ease them over here, and then boom, right there. So it's here, probably, because you're not going to get this. You're going to get this or this, probably, the way I saw it. Just because of the gap in those bushes. It's easier to cast downwind and into the wind. So put yourself in a position where you're not having to have a life or death cast.
So from right there, is that a straight up left or is that a 45 left?
Depends on what's happened up to that point. If the dog's changing direction and pretty good with me, it's probably this. Somewhere between a straight up. It's probably this right here. And if I didn't tell you before, I mean, when I blow a whistle, and that's the situation, as I blow, I shift my weight to my right foot. Now, I know you got, but I'm saying ideally, I take the weight off my left foot. So my cast is this. If you keep your weight like this, so often people go, boom, they drop their, and when it's if you're going real straight with a cast and you tip the wrong way, and those dogs are so keened into your torso, you'll get it, they'll turn the wrong way. And so if you don't load up and push off the foot that you're going to cast off of, I mean, it's this move right here. You can just get in the mirror and do it 100 times. Instead of this. They'll go, or if people get, especially as we get older and we're not as stable or you're on a stable surface and you get your feet too close together, you almost have to do that. Which is because I'm shifting my weight to my right and the dog turns the wrong way. So as you blow, if you prepare yourself, and a lot of you guys were like, you were fumbling, it was Eric, you had like the whistle, and you were trying to cast with the whistle. You got to plan ahead. You got to put if you're going to hold the whistle, which I'm good with, make sure you tip it over, and don't be afraid to cast with the transmitter hand.
I'm still like 3 steps behind.
Yeah, I know. But those,
So it's,
you're good. I mean, I know. I saw you working it out, but just taking your false motion out of it. There's a ton of it. People will, but the 2 classic false motion casts that kill people are rocking the wrong way, or on a straight up cast they go, and the dog sees this. Okay? There's a couple other ones. There's the John Travolta cast where they give the Saturday Night Live. It's like this. Or there's the, like the arm weighs 100, if you start perfecting your cast, and now this is a perfect spot to do it.
someone did a video.
Cripple Creek Retrievers.
You put your shoulder blades against the wall. Just picture this. Well, all you got, remember? Every cast, your arm should touch the wall. That's the perfect, I mean, if you're facing your dog, that is going to be your greatest amount of visibility. Am I going to knock off? You with me? Just pin your shoulder blades against the wall, stand square, keep your elbows in, and so, boom, there's my cast right there. It's just good casting form, huh? Oh yeah, but if you're Heil Hitler, your arm's not touching the wall. And I'll find myself doing it. That's what you'll see in your videos when you film yourself.
One thing Lee pointed out to me when we were training, I used to be a figure skater, and so everything was really rigid hands. I would have my hands like this instead of...
I think, I was taught, I think the best thing to do is when you cast, you crack your wrist. You give a little... And if you watch, I filmed from a great distance, that little flash of your palm really lends to visibility of the... If you ever watch Judy, it's always a 2 crack. People, you can say, oh, I know who you've been training with. Yeah.
I was watching some pros in an event in Montana, and when they were casting, they were doing this. And so I said, what's with this? He said, well, they had clients who were doing that John Travolta thing.
Right.
And they said the only way they could correct them is get them
Is to-
go in the
okay.
same direction.
And just filming, practicing when you're not running a dog and trying to just work on the footwork is going to help. You're just trying to communicate better. And I tell you what, when you're running hunt test and you're in camouflage and you're in you're trying to create the greatest degree of visibility so your dog can understand what it is you're saying.
How about using your hat?
I mean, I'm okay with it. I mean, I know HRC won't let you do it. The classic if you're trying to find the best uniform to handle, typically, is black pants, brilliantly white jacket, black gloves, black hat. So there's perfect contrast. So they can easily determine, where your torso is in relation to, or if you've got, your next best thing if you're running hunt test is a solid black jacket probably, and hoping that you have some sort of a lighter colored background.
Some judges will drop you if you flash a white hat at a hunt test.
Yeah. Whatever. I mean, I'm going to do I'm going to do everything I can do to help my dog see me. That's all. That's what I'm just trying to say.
Is there any deviation to that? Because sometimes when we have the mountains in the background running field trial here,
Yes.
isn't the best.
Oh, absolutely. It was common in this part of the country. I got my low battery warning. I better plug it in. Black on black? Yeah. And some people do white on white. Sometimes you were in the Midwest and you were tight to a dark tree line, then all white was an all white arm. And Linda Bowes she always had a new pair of like goat skin gardening gloves that were white. And, you know, the minute they got dirty, she got a new pair.